Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Think Big with Michael Zellner. All positive, no politics. My guest today is Amy Jamison. Amy is a singer-songwriter, and she actually has been singing in radio and television commercials. She actually started with one of the largest jingle companies in America, William B. Tanner Agency. She's also the daughter of the late, great lead singer of the band Survivor, Jimi Jamison. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So tell us something interesting about yourself that most people don't know.
You and I were talking, I work at an animal hospital and I'm a surgical nurse at an animal hospital. Been there a good while now. So it's a lot of fun. I still do my singing, songwriting, but you got to make money, unfortunately, right. I don't make as much as I would love to, singing. But so it pays the bills, but I love it. I'm an animal lover. So
how did you get involved with that, with the animal hospital?
I just followed up on an ad that I saw, and I've always had a connection with animals, and I applied for it. And that was when I was much, much younger. And then I quit, went on tour with a band. And then I just went back not too long ago. So it's, I'm doing a little bit more, actual hands-on stuff now than I did before, and I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a time, just been doing it for a while now.
That's great. I believe you actually opened up before for John Cafferty. You opened up for Wally Palmer of the Romantics, Bobby Kimball, Toto. What was it like to open up with such major artists like that?
Surreal. It was so surreal. And what's really funny is I had such a crush on all of them when I was growing up, just watching them on MTV. I was like, oh, this is cool. I've got such a crush on him, especially Mike Reno of Loverboy. Right. And then when I sang with him, it was just, I could not believe it, but it was an honor. And they are such talented, gifted musicians, singer-songwriters. I mean, to be in their presence alone, I didn't feel worthy, but it was so much fun. And they were so kind and generous and just loving people. And Joe Lynn Turner too. Lynn just took my heart. He was so amazing. Just a precious human being.
And we grew up in a time when you watched MTV and you saw music videos, which is what it was originally supposed to be.
Exactly what the kids just don't know.
No idea. Nowadays, you have to go on YouTube and things like that to really see really good music videos. And
That's
everything.
Right.
So it's completely different.
My daughter is asking me, she was asking her because Stranger Things, we're big Stranger Things fans in the 80s and in Metallica. She's into Metallica now. And she's asking, what was it like in the 80s? And I was like, we'd order a pizza and watch Friday night video fights and MTV. And it was nothing like it. Right. You just never know. I'm so glad I lived in that era than I do now.
The movies, everything was better.
Everything. That's right. That's right.
And we didn't have cell phones. I mean, we didn't know that we were missing out on technology. It wasn't there yet.
That's right.
And we did fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your parents just trusted you to, give them a call when you could. And that's nice. I mean, now it's just like Life 360. You got to track your kids and,
right.
It's crazy.
If you don't have a cell phone now, you feel like, oh gosh, you're sort of naked in a way,
I know. If I leave mine at home, I just feel something is wrong.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I always say as great as technology is, there's just as much bad as good because we've lost that interaction with people, that one-on-one contact, of having to talk to people, that's just not there anymore.
Exactly. More anxiety with it and everything. So I really feel fortunate that my dad was really big in the 80s when all that was going on and in the middle of it. So it just kind of brought everything to a whole. And now I see my daughter and I wish she could have that experience, but they'll have their own, but it is different times for sure.
It definitely is. You also, speaking of your dad, you also had a chance to work with him in Survivor when you co-wrote, I believe, the song Give Me the Word for their CD Reach. What was it like? How did that come about?
So I was probably about 13, 14, 15 years old. I was writing songs, playing guitar, writing songs. And he said, Amy, I need your help. Just write me some lyrics. Just give me one of your songs to use. So I gave him my favorite one, and he kind of picked out the lines that, that fit right. And I appreciate Frankie Sullivan for, allowing that to happen, and Dad getting in there and doing it. But yeah, I didn't even hear the song first.
Wow.
I literally just wrote lyrics, and then he just chose it and just took it from there. And it fit very well. And I love the song. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it, because I surely couldn't have written the music like that. That was incredible. I love that song. So
that had to be so much fun to do that.
It was. It's definitely a good memory. It is. And I was so young then.
Yes, the good old days when we were younger.
Yeah, yes.
I know. Speaking of your dad again, what an inspiring, an amazing music career he had. Most people know of his success with obviously Survivor, but he actually started in music when he was around, I guess, 12 years old or so. He taught himself how to play the guitar. He first performed in front of a middle school crowd, I believe at Sherwood, singing the song Day Tripper by the Beatles. What made him get started in music at such a young age?
I think it was the guys in his school. He's always Elvis Presley. It was just Elvis. It was Elvis and the Beatles. Those two, that's all that I ever heard about growing up was the Beatles. He'd sit there at home, he'd play the Beatles. So I think growing up, the guys in his school, they just all were such big fans and wanted to be a part. And of course, he had a great voice.
Right.
Now, my grandmother was a very good singer too.
Oh,
and
okay.
She would sing in church choir, and he would sing at church too. So it was kind of just a little bit of everything. But I think just, hearing like we do now, hearing the band, wanting to be like Elvis, wanting to be like the Beatles, getting out there and learning. They lived in such a tiny house when he was growing up. I mean, literally almost 2 rooms.
Oh.
That he would just go just to isolate himself, just go and play music. So it would kind of just take him away from that tiny space and let him get out and just do what he loved doing.
That's awesome. I mean, to start that young is just unbelievable.
That's right. He was very talented.
His band, I believe it was the Debuts, they had a hit song, If I Cry, and they were signed by Atlantic Records and actually got to open up for Roy Orbison. Then Jimmy was the lead singer for the bands Target and Cobra before joining Survivor in 1984. What was a negative situation for frontman at the time, Dave Bickler, having vocal cord injuries, actually changed Jimmy's life. What was that opportunity like for him to join Survivor?
Well, he went to LA to try out and didn't really make much of a big deal. He was always so humble. So he didn't really make much of a big deal about it. So we were all sitting there. He said, "Oh, I'm just," he was with Cobra at the time.
Right.
So he went out there. He's like, "I'm just not going to get it, but I'm just going to go try." He had some friends in the industry, of course. They said, "You need to do this." And he went out there, and they said they looked at, Jim Peterick and Frankie looked at each other and it's like, "Oh my gosh, this is him." So when he got home, he sat us all down and he's like, "Listen, I'm joining this band. Our lives are going to change. This is what you need to do. Don't let it get to your head. Things may get crazy." But he was so humble about it. Never once did I feel like he felt above anybody. He was very appreciative for the chance to do it, but he was back and forth to LA so much. But just those tryouts, and I went back and I actually listened. I have some little cassette tapes of the tryouts.
So
and it's
cool.
Just amazing. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm excited I have those. Those are really a blessing to have, especially now. So
yeah, for some people that don't know what cassettes are, we actually look it up.
But yeah, it was a good moment. He was really excited, but he was warning us, listen, and it did change for me. People at school, were different to me. And
sure.
But they, he warned us ahead of time, and he was like, "Listen, don't stop being yourself." Because he knew Survivor was big because of Eye of the Tiger.
Right.
So he knew that once he got in there, that the band was so amazing and wrote such wonderful songs that all he's got to do is sing with that voice, and there's going to be great. So that was a good experience, but it was different for sure.
Right. And you mentioned Eye of the Tiger. Obviously that's what Survivor was known for then, Sylvester Stallone had asked them to write the theme song for Rocky 3 in 1982. And they came up with that song, and it was a huge hit, sold, I think 2.5 million copies.
Mhm.
But after that, the band sort of, have sort of a downward spiral. And, Jimmy provided, an instant, fire and spark to that band.
That's right.
He's been described as a true singer and a prime example that your voice comes from the heart. You obviously knew him as Dad before he became famous. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about his heart.
Just the most kindest, gentlest human being. Honestly, I never did anything wrong, but he never got on to me. He was always so sweet. He was the one person, even when I was a little bitty girl, I could just go to. I was always a daddy's girl, but he was kind. People would come over and they'd be, even when he was in Target, they were just, oh my gosh, I love you, and he was just so humble. And everybody that knows him now knows how humble he is. But he never changed, even at his height of success in 83, 84, 85. He never changed. He was always humble, always humble, always thankful to have that opportunity to be in a mega band and do this. But even before that, with Target and Cobra, granted, he was gone a lot, and that was really hard. But he always would write me. Back then, we wrote letters too,
Right.
so he would write me letters, and call me and did as much as he could and tried to be a real dad. So it was. Unfortunately, I know a lot of kids with, I know he kind of stayed in the same, like John Cafferty's amazing father, those dad, they're just great dads. And he stayed in that circle of good guys, Jim Peterick, wonderful dad. So he just knew how to work it. He knew how to do it the right way.
That's awesome. Survivor started touring, I believe, with Bryan Adams and REO Speedwagon in 1985, and then they get a call from Sylvester Stallone again, asking them to write the theme song for Rocky 4, and they came up with a great song, Burning Heart. And that same year, I think Jimmy told the Los Angeles Times in an interview, he says, I'm stronger on ballads. I like to sing them more than anything else. But I didn't get much of a chance to do that before. I wanted to see more balance, and being in this group, is just right for me. Is that the reason why it was such a perfect fit?
I think so. It was. They had those power ballads, and even with a song like Burning Heart, he had such a strong presence in it. It brought so much to the song, and even now they just use that song for karate for the new Karate Kid series. They used it again.
That's right. I forgot that. Yeah,
they sure did.
Yeah.
They used Burning Heart, so that was so exciting to hear. But yeah, power ballads was his thing. But even I think even like Burning Bridges and all those big rock songs, he could still pull it off. He was still amazing at it. But he was so strong. And Casey Kasem said he was one of the top 10 or top 20 vocalists. I can't remember, but and he would never want to hear that. He's like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. But
Right.
He really was. And I don't know, he definitely enjoyed power ballads more. I think he could put it out more. And he had such a loving heart. I think it just showed through also.
He inspired, we talk positive and, upbeat songs for the band. It's been said that he expressed how we all felt in the song, The Search Is Over. He helped us go for it, and I Can't Hold Back, and High on You. He inspired us to reach new heights, in the song, The Moment of Truth, which was for the original Karate Kid in 84. Mm-hmm. Burning Heart, from Rocky 4, and also I'll Be Ready, which is the theme song for Baywatch.
Right.
To show the popularity of the band to this day, I went on YouTube to watch Burning Heart. And it was first put on YouTube on August 1st, 2013, which is about 9 years ago, coming up here in about a week. Mm-hmm. That song has been viewed over 138 million.
Whoa.
Million times. I was like, wow. I mean, we know of big bands today that are major bands that if you go on YouTube to watch some of their videos, not even close to that,
No.
not even half of that. I mean, maybe a third of it at the most if they're major, but 138 million times in the last 9 years, that video has been
That's
used.
crazy.
I mean,
no idea.
Why do you believe that their popularity, that sound is still so popular today with people?
I think it's the mix of his voice and the writing, the songwriting. I mean, it still relates even today. And so many, unfortunately, there's a lot of artists that kind of date a little bit, not all the time, but can date themselves.
Sure.
And I think Survivor, even today, and that's why it's still used in movies and shows, is because it precedes the timeline that they were on, that 80s timeline, where a lot of them, with the synthesizer, sometimes that can date the song. Or so I think with Survivor, and the fact that it was such a gigantic movie too, that in the video, and you've got these great musicians together, and I just think people can relate to the song still. Even kids today can relate to those songs, that because of the words. The words are so great. Even Search Is Over.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's such a great song. Even today, teenagers today can relate to that. And same for the other ones. So I think that's why. And also because Rocky is so powerful. And
yeah, look behind me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you had this great group of guys that you watched this music video, and it was a great music video too.
Yeah, right.
So I think I did not know it had that many views. I'm going to have to go on there when we finish and go look at it.
It was unbelievable.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was just, and it's amazing. People don't realize that, Sylvester Stallone calls them, before your dad was in to do Eye of the Tiger, they did that. Perfect song for the movie, the words, everything, the theme, what the movie is about. And then the same thing when they did Burning Heart. And that's not an easy thing to do, to write a theme song for a movie that hits the movie, and nails it. I mean, that just has to be really difficult to do.
It has to be. Yeah, it definitely, that is a gift and a talent. That is not something everybody can do, and fits
not at all
perfectly. Yeah. Especially when you already have Eye of the Tiger and you've got to come up again.
Right.
I mean, that just doesn't happen all the time.
No. And it's just great. I mean, the way it was played in the movie when he was getting on the plane, flying to Russia. And, just exactly. I get chills, honestly.
Me
right
too.
Now, just
the
thinking
editing.
about that.
Yeah. The editing that they did in that movie, when that happened, it was perfect. I mean, it gives me chills too. It's pretty cool. Now you make me want to go watch it again.
Yeah, you got to go watch it. Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the things I didn't know about your father was that how funny he was.
He was. It's his second career.
Yeah, Robin Beck, singer Robin Beck said that Jimmy was the funniest guy that you ever met, and she said that he got laughter from people without actually being lewd, which was rare. And it was also said that he could make a whole tour bus burst out in laughter, even after a show when they were all exhausted, anytime he wanted to.
Yeah.
How did your dad make you laugh?
Oh my gosh. Let me tell you, sometimes he did it so much, it would make me irritated. I would be he'd be picking me up from school. And when you're a kid, you want to listen to your favorite song on the radio. Oh, I couldn't. He had to change the lyrics to every song, like Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
So it was always, it's just like there was a Peter Cetera song, and I can't even remember, but it was just, he always had to not make fun of the song, but just do a spoof. But and he would just crack jokes, and he just, I mean, it was all the time. So for me, he had a little bit, but it was, he was so much fun. And I mean, just being goofy and playing guitar and, writing his own goofy. So he was so much like Weird Al Yankovic on a different level.
Right.
That is his second career. People don't know that, but he would just rewrite lyrics to songs that were so funny. But yeah, he was definitely a comic. That is his second career. A lot of people don't know that, but he was, even on stage, he just walk right into a microphone and hit his head, because he was short. So they never would make the microphone go high enough.
Right.
So he'd just be like, okay, for real. He was just so funny. So yeah, that's his second calling, was a comedian. Yeah.
A musician that knew Jimmy well said that he had a way of making you feel loved and instantly accepted. And he was just a very down to earth country boy. He
Yep.
genuinely loved his fans and people, didn't he?
He did. He did. And he went way above and beyond. I would see him up in the middle of the night just emailing fans on his own. He didn't have a lot of people run his sites. I don't know, maybe in the earlier days, there wasn't
Sure.
websites, but even earlier in the 90s, he might have had a person or two, but for the most part, he answered his own fan mail. He got with fans. He'd send pictures out and have people, he'd sign them and send them at him, have somebody do it, but he'd do it himself too. But I mean, he really took pride in it. And he actually was such a kind person. He didn't want to impose asking people to do too much because he
Right.
loved his fans, and it means more coming from him.
Sure.
But I would see just emails of fans and that he'd just be answering stuff. I was like, Dad, you need some help with that. But he loved them. He was genuine. If I've had so many people contact me and say, your father saved my life.
Wow.
And, just from his kindness and listening to them just for that 5 minutes, it made a difference. And he was genuine, had a genuine heart. It did wear him out where he was tired, but he loved it. He loved it. And he loved every one of them. And I know to this day, he would do the same thing over and over again. No doubt.
You never know the power of a moment, power of answering an email from somebody and what someone is going through, whether you know them or not. You just don't know. And reaching people, he obviously did that.
That's right. That's right. And that's what a artist, if they have time, a lot of them are really, really, really busy, but that's what they should do, because they really wouldn't be anything without the fans.
Right.
And he knew that. He did.
The renaming of Highland Street, between Central and Southern and Memphis to Jimi Jamison Street had to be so special for you and your family. How did that come about?
So Gwen Smith, one of my dad's, girlfriend, but one of his friends, Gwen, she's always been there for me and the family and helped us do things to honor him. And then she was on Memphis, the city council for years to do this. I mean, just constantly calling. So she's the one that got the ball rolling. It's all her. She did it. I went with her to meet some of the Memphis City Council, tell them thank you, but it was all Gwen Smith, and she's really put it out there, gotten this done, and made a difference. So without her, it would not have gotten done. So I'm so thankful to her, because she pushed them. I mean, she phone calls, letters, everything, calling everybody she knows in the Memphis City Council. And they were very gracious in doing it too.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Very lucky.
One of the coolest things I read about your dad was that there was a musician that said that if Elvis were reincarnated into a rock singer, he would be Jimi Jamison.
I believe that.
I was just like, I love that. I mean, you can't get any higher than obviously Elvis the King,
That's right.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, excited. He met Elvis when he was about 7 years old, I think, in Whitehaven at some little general store. And so he met him and was just so scared. He didn't even want to go up to him. I don't even know if he went up to him really, but he said he did see him. So that was his ultimate. And then the Beatles, but Elvis. So it's an honor, but I see that too, because he would do, he did that all the time. And then he constantly did parodies of Elvis. So I can say, I see that if Elvis were a rock singer now, they even look a little bit alike. So,
and one person I think said that when he was just talking with that, Southern drawl and everything, that they sounded a little bit alike.
They did. And, they're both from Mississippi. My father was from Durant. So, you never know. There may be some type of relative ancestry.com.
Sure.
You just never know.
Have you seen the new Elvis movie?
I want to see it. I've heard
Oh,
it is amazing.
It is unbelievable.
I have to see it. Yeah, I have to see it.
Yeah, you have to go see the movie.
Yeah.
It really is
So
that good.
He portrays Elvis very well, from what I hear.
Nails it.
Oh, that's so great. I hope
Yeah.
he gets an award for it.
Yeah, he should. I mean, Priscilla and Lisa Marie both were just in awe of it. They said it's the best portrayal they've seen, and the movie was just perfect, right on. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so that was really exciting to see, because you know there's been so many Elvis movies and shows over the years, and most of them are not in a good way, you know, because of everything. And this was just, you know, this really nailed it. So it's definitely worth seeing.
Great.
You know,
I can't
Elvis,
wait to see it.
In a true story, Elvis actually worked for my grandfather and great uncle very briefly for a few weeks in the 50s. They owned a place called Bozoff Dinettes. They made dinettes for all over the country. And when he was in high school, and true story, they fired him because all he wanted to do, he brought the guitar.
He just wanted to play.
Wanted to play the guitar, and that is actually a true story. Yeah,
that's so cool.
That is really cool. Yeah, just a little snippet there about Elvis.
Do they have any pictures of him or anything?
And they had no. I mean, this is before he got big, so he wasn't anybody. You know. So, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, that would have been really cool.
I know.
Yeah, that was really
so cool just to have that, though.
I know. Very cool.
That's history.
Definitely. Tell us about the all-star tributes that you've done to your dad. I know that, you know, I think they were done at Hard Rock Cafe on Beale Street, you know, to raise money for St. Jude. Tell us a little bit about those.
So we were having it at least every couple years, and it's so good. And we want to have an anniversary. We've got something else coming up again. It's not the jam, but it's like it. But we started having them to raise money for St. Jude, because that was his favorite charity.
Right.
And he loved the kids, of course. So we would get John Cafferty, Mike Reno, Jim Peterick, Kelly Keegi, the Nelson, Matthew Nelson, Gunnar and Matthew Nelson. And so many and a lot of wonderful Memphis musicians. Oh my gosh, we're so blessed in Memphis.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So just a bunch of great artists. And I know there's some that I'm missing, but we would do this, and not everybody would come each time. So each one is different, which is good.
Right.
But, you know, we would raise at least $12,000 for the kids. And so it was a very, very good event. And it got, you know, honored Jimmy, my dad. And and so and then the last year we had it at Lafayette's, which is a success. It was really great at Lafayette's, but we're going back to Hard Rock for this next one. So
when is that going to be?
That's August the 21st. It's just to unveil the bust, which the first jam was Jam for Jimmy was, they did the bust. We've already done this once, but I guess they're getting the glass case is what we're unveiling this time. So it's kind of cool. But that's August the 21st at Hard Rock. Free admission, donations to St. Jude. There'll be something there to give donations if you want to, or go online and do it is even better.
Right.
So,
you know, many people don't realize it takes, I took the tour of St. Jude about 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah. And $2.6 million a day to run that hospital. Yeah.
People don't realize, a lot of people don't know that.
I could not believe that. That was unbelievable. And just to hear that, I mean, if someone's in Memphis and they have not been in the hospital and taken that tour, they need to take that tour.
They need to take it. It really will. It really will. And you see what just if everybody could just give a little bit, at least here and there. Because I mean, that little chump change that we did, I meat, that doesn't even barely, but I mean, every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
Though. But yeah, you got to take a tour. I did too. And it was just, it puts a whole new perspective on things for you. And they don't charge the children and the families. Right. That alone is a miracle. I mean, because, see what they're doing is just amazing.
And they keep expanding. I just saw a thing where they're actually expanding even larger now and down there. So it's unbelievable. And it's
I'm
just,
so glad.
it's an amazing thing for Memphis. It's right. They don't charge. People are flown in. They have a place to stay, food to eat. They're taken care of. And now, we're back when it was first started. I think only 20% of kids survive. And now it's, 80%.
Yes, I think that's so
I
amazing.
know.
That's so great. They've got this new, when I took the tour, they were telling me that they've got this new procedure where they can actually target the tumor and isolate it and go in there and shoot the laser and kill the cancer cells. So, I mean, their technology alone is giving people, adults, hope too.
Right.
So it's just such an amazing, so anything that we can do. So if people can just, you don't have to donate down there, go online and donate.
Right. Those $19 a month thing that, you see on TV, those add up, and it's
really
super,
does.
It's super important. And, in
That's
St.
right.
Jude, they share all their information. They don't keep it to themselves,
Exactly.
they share it with everybody all over the world.
That's right. That's right. It's Memphis is just blessed to have that here. We are.
We definitely are. The last show that Jimmy performed was at a cancer benefit in California, just a couple of days before his untimely passing. I don't believe in coincidence at all. So there's no doubt to me, in my mind, that him giving back and helping raise money for cancer, being his last show, it was supposed to happen the way it happened. Being that was his last show, doing that for kids, shows how much of a huge heart he had, and why. And we talked about that obviously at St. Jude, and talked about how important the kids were for him. But was there any other reason why raising money for cancer was just really important for him?
Well, children, I don't know if it's because he grew up as a child so poor, and so we didn't have any relatives, children that had gone through that horrible event. So it wasn't anything personal like that. But growing up, he had such a place for little kids, just going through poverty as he was little, and not, having, his dad wasn't really around when he was a little bitty kid. And so I think he just had a special heart for children alone. And he did not want to see one child suffer for any reason at all, much less cancer. So when he can do a small amount of something to help, he's going to do that, because he doesn't want to see any child suffer at all for any reason, abuse, cancer, anything. So anytime he can do a benefit for that, he's going to do it. I think later on, he did more benefits than he did shows. So he was constantly giving back. Yeah.
To me, the true, definition of character of somebody is a person is defined by, a few things. And one is, like we talked about, how they give back. And he definitely did that over his career. Another is, what people say about that person. Your family said that Jimmy was a friend to everyone he met. He was a loving father, grandfather. He was always a person who valued people more than anything else. Richard Marx actually said of your dad, it was, so sad to hear of Jimmy passing. I just saw him last December at a benefit, and he was such a kind and talented man. And then I read something referring to your dad that said positivity, happiness, inspiration, love, humor, family, friends, and a decades long canon of beloved creative work. And that's not bad for a legacy for a musician to leave behind. What do you remember most about your dad?
I remember most personally. I remember every time something would happen, or whether it be me not feeling good or having a bad day or something, I knew he would leave where he was and come to where I was just to give me a hug or hold me or give me words of encouragement. There was one time he was going to do Gwen Smith and a friend of ours, they were going to do a special flight simulator thing. They had been planned for a while, and I was not feeling good at the time. And he stopped. He didn't go there. He came to see me and took care of me. And I was an adult, I wasn't a kid. This was, in my middle 20s. And, so he just, he was such a great father. I mean, I was so blessed to have him, because a lot of people unfortunately don't have that relationship with their father like that, but I did. even when he was on the road, he was still a great father. It was never different. I mean, I could go on and on and on about it, but he was so kind. And I always knew no matter what happened, I could go to him for anything I needed. And he was always there. And so I feel like I was very, very lucky. And I hate that my daughter didn't get to know him like that. You know, he passed away when she was 7. So she remembers him, but not like I wish she would. So he was just a very gentle soul. Gentle, definitely a gentle soul.
At least she definitely has the ability to go, at least always be able to go watch his music.
That's right.
His music.
That's right.
And that
right.
voice.
Yep. And she does too.
That's awesome. So what are the most important lessons that you've learned in your life?
Most important lessons are always be humble and kind. We need more kindness, especially now. My father always taught me to take a step back and breathe and don't jump ahead. Don't, lose your temper. Take a step back, see what the situation is before you react. So he just taught me to just always be kind and don't judge. Don't judge other people. And my mother did too. She my mother and father divorced when I was 10, but they were great friends. He always took care of her, even up to the day he passed away. So they both taught me to just be a sweet person and help others in need. My mother always taught me give, even if you don't have anything, you still give. So, and he was the same way. And, a lot of people think, oh, well, he was this celebrity. He was like, we had mega mansions and stuff.
Right.
No, he helped a lot of people. And a lot of people don't know that, to where that we didn't have the things that you would think. And I would rather it be that way, because that's what we're supposed to do. So he was definitely, he taught me how to give back, and you got to give back, because you give, you don't receive until you give. So that's what he taught me, to be humble and kind.
Wonderful. I have to tell you, I had so much fun going on YouTube and watching the videos of all those songs that were just big hits. And it gave me chills listening to them and watching the videos. I was in high school, at the time when all those songs came out. And so it reminded me of those wonderful times when, it was just like I said, just such a fun era to grow up in.
It was.
And obviously being a huge, Rocky movie buff, as you see behind me and everything, in boxing, having, with Eye of the Tiger and Burning Heart, watching those and everything, it was just amazing. So I just had so much fun going back and watching those videos. They're exciting.
They are. And there's so many of them. There's so many videos. They just, and did you ever see the Survivor live in Japan?
No, I did not.
You need to check that out. It's really good. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Really good.
Awesome. And that's on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Mm-hmm.
Well, Amy, this has been awesome. I've really enjoyed talking today and learning a little bit more about you and talking and listening to you talk about your dad. Obviously, that relationship was just so special.
It really was. It really was. I'm a blessed person. I am. I do have something to show you real quick, if you got 2 seconds.
Definitely.
So
please.
They are actually re-releasing his solo album, Jimi Jamison. I think this is Rock Hard. So they're really, and it's going to be August 21st at the jam that they're having down there at Hard Rock. So they're going to sell these. I don't know when or anything. I'm sure we'll make an announcement, but it should be really well. Do really well. It's just a re-release of his first solo album is what it is. So it's not Survivor related, but
sure.
But it'll be good. It will. So hopefully that people will enjoy that and relive those memories of his very first solo album.
Yeah, I've never heard it. So I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a little Survivor-esque, a little harder rock, but it's really good. Yeah.
Well, Amy, I've enjoyed having you on today so much.
Thank you so much. It's so good to talk to you.
You too, and I'd love to have you on again sometime.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, thank you again.
Thank you.
Right.
Take care.
You too.
Bye. Bye-bye.